Yeah, hopefully it'll let you speak over there. I don't know why it's not let them do that. Yeah, I can't hear nothing. Oh, I think about it. Okay, here we go. There we go. Oh, damn, we almost got it. We almost got it. I can't even hear nothing. Let me see. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can try something so I can hear. Yeah, man. This sucks, man. Something gotta be great. Oh, this one. Let me see if I can hear it on the other side. Let me see. I wonder. Yeah, I wonder you can hear me. Hold on. Nope. I can hear myself. I just can't hear you though. That's crazy though. I'm sorry, y'all. Just having technical difficulties though. Hopefully, we can hear Anthony. I don't know if you can hear me or not. My screen froze. Who's that? What's up, Doo Doo? What's going down, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. Solar Effect with Charlie for the RB Talk. So let me see. Okay, add to the stage.
All right.
All righty.
We got double. We got double echo going on.
Yeah, let me try to get rid of the other one and see we good from there. Okay. Ah, shoot.
Let's try this again. We still on?
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm hearing you now. I can hear you. I just can't see your face.
Let's see. Mic is working.
Yeah, mic's on
Enter
point.
studio. Are we there?
Yeah. Yeah, I just can't see your face though. I can see the name, I just can't see your face for whatever reason. Otherwise, it's not letting me. Okay, here we go. Okay.
All right, this thing. There's two of these up.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm gonna see if I can try to remove the other layout. Okay. Okay, we good now. All righty, man. What's going on, everybody, man? I'm sorry y'all have some technical difficulties and stuff, but with these apps, man, you can only do what you can and stuff. But what's going on, everybody? My name is Rashali for the RB Talk Show. And let me tell you something. This brother right here, if you was around in '89, you see this brother everywhere, all through Janet Jackson music videos. I'm talking about I Miss You Much, Escapade, Riddle Nation, the self-title, All Right. I mean, the list goes on. I'm gonna let this brother introduce himself. I mean, he's an MTV Award winner, Grammy Award winner. So give it up, man, for the legendary Anthony Thomas. What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's cracking?
Oh man, nothing much, man. And I'm gonna give big shouts to the brother DJ J Scratch out there in Cali,
Yeah.
where you at. He told me about you, and then like when I saw your page on Instagram, and I said, wait a minute, I see that brother. You know what I'm saying? And it clicked in. As soon as I saw the Riddle Nation, I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely know who he is and stuff. Because I remember when back in I think it was '90. When y'all won the MTV Award.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I remember I saw your face, you and Janet. It was somebody else in the backdrop and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, man, that Riddle Nation just huge, man.
Yeah. It was crazy times. I mean, the the work was so um, intense.
Yeah, and stuff. Yeah, man. I want to talk about the book before we get to your upbringing, the history, and everything. How did the book Riddle Nation came about?
Well, last year, um, my wife and I, we were talking about doing an event ourselves because usually people will ask me, "Hey, will you come and do Rhythm Nation, in our Janet event?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I was talking, I said, "Wait a minute. why don't we do something instead of me being a
Yeah,
part of someone else's thing? Why don't I put something on? Why don't we do something together? And it was during like 3 days where I was thinking about all the different memories that was coming to mind that the project was bringing forth, and so I said to her, I have a lot of stories during that time, during that period, and same thing happened the next day. I said, man, I think I have some stories that some people might be interested in.
yeah,
And then next thing I know, by the third day, I said, I think I want to write something. There might be a book here. And that was it. It just took off. All of the memories and the thoughts and
wow.
everything started coming forth. And so that's how it all came about.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like, when you think about her career, people always talk about the album. Out of all the albums that
Hmm.
did what it's supposed to do, that was huge. Because I remember as a kid growing up when television supported music videos and stuff like
Yeah.
that, it was like, far as realization, it was so strong. How the videos, man, so iconic. Because I remember watching MTV. They had like a behind the scenes. They had y'all was doing y'all choreographed dance moves and everything.
Right.
And Janet said that what she said okay, when y'all was doing Miss You Much, she said
Yeah.
like y'all was so tired and stuff. Y'all was like walking around, man, like your head's cut off. Like, man, like we didn't really get any sleep. I couldn't even imagine how everything was so demanding at that time.
Yeah.
Well,
The, if I pause throughout this, it's because I'm hearing like my voice bounce back as an echo.
oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so it's kind of throwing off my timing. Not that
Oh good.
I'm not understanding what's going on. It's just my voice bouncing back was kind of crazy. Sounds
Yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy how they make these gadgets, man. You find out something about it, as soon as you buy whatever you need, but like, dang, man, what you would have told me about this, but hey, we
Yeah,
like we pay what we get. It's,
yeah. It was that period of time. Like I said, it was so intense. The work was um it was a lot. There was a lot that went into the project, and I hope that through the book that people will get a sense of all that was going on and the responsibilities that I had, not only as a dancer in it, but as a choreographer too. So I was wearing two hats, so had to create the material and then had to dance it. So I also still had to learn it.
yeah,
Even though it was coming out of me, I still had to learn it because everything was happening so fast.
yeah, because I'm glad you made a book. I'm glad you set the record straight because when people talk about everybody that Janet danced with, they'll think about, all the respect they talk about Tina, but I'm glad that you tell your story. This ain't a diss
Hmm.
like yeah, but I'm glad you clear the air
Yeah.
because now me as a kid, I didn't really focus on her like okay, who was leading, making create the dance moves. In my mind, it's like I saw you on TV
Hmm.
with Janet, what I'm saying? So it's like everywhere she went, you was like right next to her. So, and it was dope for her to show you off to the public. Let her know that I'm an artist, but look who helped me step my game up as a dancer
Right.
and
Yeah.
stuff, and everything. So I thought that was huge and everything. It is good to have, to write a book because you be a part of that history,
Mm.
and it was so dope. You have like kids and kids will look back like, wow, my great granddad, he was a part of this and that, with the see with the Queen of Pop and did that and stuff and it's like I know that everywhere you go at, you see an anniversary, and see her still get her accolades and all the back in your mind like, wow, I was a part of history because at the end of the day,
Hmm.
nobody can ever take away from what you built, those moments and stuff
Right.
and everything. Uh, So with the book, how long did it take to finish it? Was it like a month, or was it like a little bit longer than that?
Well, the funny thing about it was it took 2.5 weeks to write
Oh
for
wow,
it just came out. It just once I decided that I was gonna go for it and just really get into it, man. it just flowed. It just came out, and so the writing part of it was 2.5 weeks, and then I had to, of course, refine it and go in and make sure that everything was cohesive and that it moved, and you know, different little stories would pop in uh, that I didn't write initially. So, again, the main thrust was 2.5 weeks, and then just a few little tinkering for another, uh, maybe a couple of weeks as I was going through the process of
Yeah.
refinement.
Okay, absolutely and stuff. Uh, I want to, start off, like where you from and what inspire you to fall in love with dancing as a kid.
Oh man. Well, I know I have well, I'm from North Carolina,
Okay.
uh, originally, little small town called Dunn, North Carolina.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah, like that's where my grandmother's from.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what's
she's
up.
from there. Yeah, she moved to little Kentucky when she was like 25, but that's a whole different
Okay.
story.
Yeah, so we moved to California when I was about 5, and it was really watching. It was two different ways: watching my uncle and my mother do the swing, watching them dance in the house, and it was just, man, they were so good.
Wow.
They were cold. I mean, their footwork, it was so effortless, and it was just, so beautiful, man. And to watch them dance, it really inspired me. And so I then, I was watching Soul Train every Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And then one Saturday, man, these cats came on with the striped socks and the baggy pants and the hats and the whole nine. And they were doing this dance style that just knocked me out. And it was the group The Lockers.
Oh
And
wow.
I was in that little room, the living room, just screaming. And yeah, my mother came running in there. She thought something was wrong with me. And I said, "Mom, I want to dance like those guys on TV." And she took a beat. She went, "Oh boy, I thought there was something wrong with you." And walked back into the kitchen. But that was it. That was the moment. I knew that I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to dance like those guys. And as life would have it, I actually met with them, danced with them, and I mean, to watch some of my dance heroes, um, just a few feet away doing the routine that I was a part of, or meeting some of them at a dance function or something like that. I mean, I felt like that 8-year-old kid. I was
Wow.
just gleaming. So that started my whole love and admiration for dance, but not just locking, just dance itself. Anything that moved me, anything that I thought was excellent and beautiful, I was attracted to it, and I wanted to learn it.
Yeah, because I can only imagine, like the whole discipline, as far as your mind, because it's one thing you dancing at home, but you're actually on
Yeah,
stage with like 20 people. You're like, wow, so you learn the classical, you learn like different freestyle dancing and everything. I can only imagine, where you was like learning. It was like, wow, man, this is a whole different lane than I thought.
yeah, yeah. I started. I started my first dance group, in 5th grade, and we lasted probably for a week
Oh, dang.
because we're in school, and so whenever it was time to practice, it was actually lunchtime. So they wanted to go have lunch, but I wanted to practice. So after like 2 practices, it was over, bro.
Oh man, like what it does, man.
Lunch. Come on, man.
Yeah. I know it was like, hey, bro, look, man, I can't do this, man. I'm a bow out. This ain't for me and stuff. Then that say you might be like, you know what? Okay, since that didn't work out, I'm just gonna be solo, from now on. And that's crazy though. That makes sense though because everybody was starting like a dance group,
Yeah,
and stuff. I was born in '81, and I remember as a little kid growing up, I used to see like different dudes had their own little cliques, girls and stuff, be like
yeah,
7'5", 2. I'm like, wow, man, everybody want
yeah,
to be a dancer and stuff. So
yeah.
that's pretty awesome and stuff.
Well, I started a group. My next real group was called Rhythmatic Boogie, and we out of Oxnard, Ventura County area, which is probably about an hour north of Hollywood. And we killed it. We was me and uh, my boy Frank and Steve and Cisco and Greg. We were killing it, and and we were locking at that time. So in the beginning, and then when popping came out, we saw the Electric Boogaloo's on Soul Train. Poppin' Pete,
Yeah.
Boogaloo Sam, and it. When we saw that dance, it was like, wait a minute, what is this thing? And I want to learn it. And the funny thing is that I didn't know if I was going to be any good at it, but I was
Right.
ready to put down my lock-in and explore this whole popping thing. So it was an adventure.
Oh man. Uh, as time went on, by the time you get out of 18, you thought to yourself like, "This is what I want to do." Because a lot of times, we could be passionate with when we're elementary, middle school, and high school. And sometimes
Uh
like we
huh.
might that thought, but like, I don't know, man. I want to do something different. So you just stayed with it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you was 18, it was like, okay, now since I'm adult, maybe I get a chance to travel and stuff. Did your parents allow that, or they was still more like, nah, you're not ready
Oh no, I was ready.
yet?
No, my mother, she I would show her moves and she said, "Okay, I like that, but you've already done that a couple times. Work
Oh,
on creating some new moves." And so I didn't take that as something to be discouraged by. It actually challenged me. It gave me focus. It made me want to create more. And interestingly enough, I took one jazz class and I didn't like it. Not that the teacher wasn't good, but what I wanted to express, I realized that there was like a certain number of moves that people were learning, but the creative in me wanted more. I
right.
wanted to do more. I wanted to say more. And with street dancing, especially with popping and locking and breaking, you you could be limitless, you know.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so that's what's always kept me motivated to dance. What what else can I learn? What else can I study? And that's what I would do. I would study, Mikhail Brusnikov. I would study Liza Minnelli. I would watch Ben Green. I would watch Gregory Hines. I would watch Alvin Ailey. And I would be Bob Fosse. I would just really be just focused, intensely focused. I wanted to see how their body positions were, how their bodies moved, how they did certain things. So dancing has always been that thing for me. And so, my mother, she's always supported that. There was a period of time, when, of course, parents, they want to make sure they love you and they want to make sure that you're doing the right thing with your life. And so there was a slow period that didn't really seem like uh, I was getting anywhere, but I was. What was happening is I was digging in more and more behind the scenes. I was a part of a group called the LA City Rockers, Jazzy J, Terry Bixler, Renee Elizondo,
Wow.
and myself. We we did performances, and that's how we ended up meeting Michael, then meeting Jim.
Oh
But
wow.
she's always been you know, I want the best for you. And even if it didn't make sense to her, I knew what I was doing. And so once the breakthrough took place, then she's like, "Ah, I got it," and we've never looked back.
Well, because I know, like, prior to that, when you saw her videos, for control, you think to yourself, like, if I do get an opportunity, I know exactly what I need to do. If we do work together, was that kind of like in your mind back then as a kid?
Um, in regards to control, so and this is also in the book. When we were leaving the house, the Jackson estate, and it was a private audition for Thriller, and we didn't know that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Paula Abdul, we're all friends. We all knew one another. She called Terry, who basically led our group, and said that Paula called and said that Michael wants to meet us tomorrow morning, but we can't tell anybody. And man, I'm telling you, I'm like, are you serious? And he said, yeah, dude, we can't tell anybody. So what we did is we went out to the club that night and told everybody. So, come on, you're getting ready
Yeah.
to meet Michael, the future king of pop, and you're not going to tell anybody,
Like,
you
come
know.
on now,
So
that's a big deal.
it was a super big deal, especially because he hadn't um, filmed the video for Thriller or the short film. He hadn't done that yet. So we didn't get the part. However, as we were leaving, we saw Janet come through, but then in, into the kitchen. And as she was coming through, there was another person following her, and it was a mutual friend of ours named Melanie. And so we're like, no. And Janet kind of turned around like, whoa. And so Melanie told Janet that we were a dance group. And about a week and a half later or so, um, Renee and I were filming Body Rock, and she got a message from Melanie that Janet wanted to see us dance. She wanted to meet us. So that's how that whole connection took place. And so, in regards to Control, that video, she wanted me to choreograph the whole thing by myself.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I wasn't ready professionally, so to speak. In regards to, I hadn't done any professional choreography before. I just did choreography, not even knowing I was doing choreography. You know what I mean? I was just
Yeah.
making up the moves, doing all the staging with my groups and stuff. And but I didn't know that I was already in a uh, choreography or choreographer position. But Janet had been watching me dance. She'd been watching us, and so uh, she and Renee said, "Hey, will you choreograph Janet's Control video?" And I just stared at her. I'm like, "Wait, what?" And
Wow.
she got that big Janet smile, that Jackie smile, and she said, "Yeah, Aunt." She goes, "I want you to choreograph my video." I'm like, "Janet, I can't do it. I'm not ready for that." And she said, "Yes, you are, Aunt." And I'm like, "Janet," I said, "Can Paula and I do it together?" And they just went silent. And I'm like looking at them like, "What's up?" And she said, "Well, no, nothing's wrong. We just, we think you can do it." And I said, "I'm not ready." I said, "Can you just see if you'll do it, you know, with me?" And they looked and said, "Okay, we'll ask her." So that's what happened. We both choreographed the video, and in the credits it says assistant choreographer. No, 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 no. I was not assistant choreographer. I was supposed to be the guy, and so it turned out that way. But as written in my book and setting the record straight here, I am the co-choreographer of the Control video.
Oh man, there we have it though. Yeah, cause I hate sometimes with mainstream media, they will take a certain name and they'll just run with it and won't give the actual people credit. And when
Yeah,
people see behind the scenes, like, wait a minute, well, I thought that so. No, you just go by a headline of a fake
yeah, yeah.
reporter. This is the real facts and stuff. Um, Lead up from there. So by the time here it is, so much anticipation. you know, say working on Rhythm Nation 1814. Do y'all stay in contact, you know, through that process?
While we were creating the
Yeah.
videos or the film.
First I'm working on the album, or would y'all stay in contact before you even shot a short film video?
Oh God, yeah. So this is what happened. Um, Renee called Janet. Renee. They were already in Minneapolis working on this untitled record, which would be Rhythm Nation. And he said, "Hey, Janet wants to know what you're doing for the next couple of weeks." And I said, "Nothing, sure." I had my band at the time, a band called New Breed, and we had rehearsals. I said, "That's really about it." And he said, "Well, Janet wants you to come out to the studio and hang out with us while she's recording the record." I'm like, "Okay, that sounds cool to me." And I'm tripping because I get to meet Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I get to go to Flight Time Studios.
Yeah.
So I was hyped. And so we get out there and it's freezing. It's not it, man. I thought I was warm in my California coat. That thing got beat up in Minneapolis, boy. That weather wasn't playing. I felt a real
Yeah,
winter.
imagine.
Talk about shit, Rashad.
Yeah. Yeah, Minnesota
So
ain't no joke. I've been out there, man. Ain't no joke, man.
yeah, hey, New York weather, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is though. I got a couple of friends there, and they said when it snows, they stay here, man. They don't come out till when the sun finally warms up. That's the real truth.
So anyway, to answer your question, so I was out there and she would play me the track. Well, she said, "Let's go to the dance studio tomorrow and just kind of play around." I'm like, "Okay." So again, I'm not thinking anything, and I'm just vibing off the tracks. And one of them was actually "State of the World." It was
Oh
instrumental,
wow.
and then the other one was "Miss You Much," and that was also instrumental. So they were allowing me to hear the tracks, but not really hearing all the tracks. So I was there in the process, and when they played the uh, the almost complete version of Rhythm Nation, that was crazy. That was
Wow.
crazy. Yeah. So this was like I think this is the second day that I was there, and yeah, because they picked me up from the airport, and then we went straight to the hotel. So I'm sitting in the corner, and he says, "Hey, Jan, or Jimmy, can you play Rhythm Nation for Anthony?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "Let me pull it up." So we go into Studio A, and there's this sound that I'm hearing from one of the songs. It's all distorted and ah. I'm like, "What is that?" Out of context, it would sound crazy, but it was that instrumental part, B version, and or the B section in the knowledge. When it gets real distorted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that part.
Oh wow.
So then they pull it up, and Renee goes, uh, you know, "Why don't you sit over here?" So I went over to like the right side, this little cubby of the studio, and the track comes on, and that thing, do all the synth sound, all that
Oh man.
layered stuff.
Yeah.
It comes in screaming, and then the countdown. Bang, 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 bang. I'm like, "What is this?" And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening. Often Janet comes singing in with music by her side. I'm like, "Oh my God." And
Wow.
I'm listening to this. I'm like, I can't wait for people to hear my friend's music, because
Yeah.
that's how we were friends. So I wasn't thinking anything. I'm like, wait till they hear this. And so I was so excited for it and so proud. I'm like, this is going to be amazing. And the more I listened to the song, all of a sudden I started thinking, wait a minute, am I going to be a part of this? And the power of that song and the message was so strong. I literally started to tear up.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm holding back. Again, I'm so proud of her. So it was just all love just moving through me. And I'm like, man, I hope no one can see me because I'm just about to just burst. And so it ends, and then they all look at me. Renee looked at me and goes, "What'd you think?" And I couldn't even, I was so lumped up in here. I went,
I couldn't imagine, man, being a kid, man. You try to gather your whole thoughts, man. Like,
it was
take this shit.
amazing. And so from there, again, we would start creating things. Um, Renee and I would start talking about things. I started sharing my ideas. We were
Wow.
listening to, she was tracking Love Will Never Do. And I came up with an idea that ended up turning out to be the backdrop to Miss You Much.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Which still did transcend into Love Will Never Do later. Still some of the same ideas made that video.
Wow. Wow, man, that's incredible. I never knew that, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy how you can take one story and kind of space it out for
Yeah.
something in the next last single. Yeah. Because I'm not going to I'm going to play like the actual video. I'm going to play this part. So you right here, and this is a young lady right next to you and stuff. So as y'all was like, get ready for the video, you thought to yourself, like, dang, I would probably be part of this run that she's a part of. So now I want to ask you this. Okay, now y'all did I Miss You Much. Did she have like a solo dance with the knowledge? She was breaking down stuff on top of the building. Y'all did Real Nation. Was that a whole week of shooting, or did it took like 2 weeks of filming it? As far as like
I
music
believe
videos.
that took, in total, I think it's like 3 weeks,
Oh
three,
wow.
maybe even 3.5, because the knowledge came in at the very end. That wasn't even scripted for the short film. It was just
Okay.
going to be Miss You Much and Rhythm Nation. And
Oh wow.
so, yeah, so Renee came to me and said, we're going to do the knowledge. And so we need you to choreograph that as well. And so what happened was Lavelle Smith and I, we both choreographed that piece,
Oh wow.
which is one of my favorite pieces.
Yeah, because you know what I like about the video? I like the part where it was you, Lavelle, and some of the fellas. Yeah, and she was like right in the middle. And it's like the chemistry, man, y'all had, man. No offense to any dancers that came later on. It was like, man, like y'all just had, like y'all just having a good time, man.
Yeah,
Shoot that video.
it, I mean, you actually saw it. You felt the truth.
Yeah.
Janet would take us out to like Universal Studios, out to dinner. Um, we had uh, like movie night and
Oh
dinner
wow.
barbecue at her house, and we all watched the film in the theater. And we did things together. Janet really wanted to bring us together and create that family atmosphere, which is something that I still hear today.
Yeah, it is amazing, man, because it's like, when people look at it like, wow, you can tell everybody was like a team. It's one thing we see her as a face, who she is, but the way she's so horrible and y'all together, but like this not just about me. People look at her and they think about okay, she's like the Michael Jordan or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else is
Mm,
people like that's not like it. This is like a USA All Star team and stuff.
yep.
And now, did she wanted the video to be black and white, or that was like a collectively a team decision? Besides like the color.
I think that was probably more of a discussion that she and Renee had.
Hmm.
Um, I think it might have been inspired by the movie Rumblefish. I believe that
Okay.
was shot in black and white with like little moments of color. I think there was like a the fish that was in it might have been blue, a color blue, and everything was black and white.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, I believe it came from that.
Yeah, because I remember when the video premiered on MTV, and
Hmm.
man, how huge it was and stuff, and then it led to like a 30-minute. short film,
Yeah.
project and stuff. And I would say, wow, I wish they would play that more, whenever the anniversary comes up and stuff. Now, correct me on this: was you a part of like their full short film, or besides like the dancing part of it?
In terms of like the
Yeah, like the
creative team.
realization. Yeah, when it starts like with the kid, it was best friends, and I think one got murdered or something like that,
Oh,
and the
right.
boy ran to the factory and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
I was.
I
Yeah.
wasn't a part of the writing of that at all.
Okay. And people don't realize this. Vivica Fox, before she became who she was,
Yeah,
she had a cameo
yeah,
singing in the background and stuff
yeah,
in the video. Because I remember I looked years back, I said, wait a minute, that's Vivica Fox? I say, dang, you never know who was a part of that,
right.
project and
And
everything.
I remember they were really keyed in on that shot of her, and I didn't even know that was her, you
Wow.
know. But I
Yeah.
do remember they were given strong focus um, with her.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And, people don't
Hmm.
realize, too, both of them from Indiana,
Mm,
got two Indiana, what I'm saying, here they
wow.
both got people in the same video. People don't even talk
Yeah.
about it, you know. And that's right. Yeah, she's from Indianapolis. Yeah, Vivica. Yes, I almost said Gary for a second. Now, so to go from the Real Nation, doing that project and stuff. If I'm correct, was that the very first military type of style dance uh, that was ever made, far as like in pop culture?
Um, I don't want to start rumors. No, no, I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know because people talk about Captain EO and Rhythm Nation, but I think they're different. You
Yeah,
know, um,
absolutely.
the, with Rhythm Nation, I just created music
Yeah.
through the dance. So whatever I heard, the energy of it, the feeling of it, that's what I did. And I was creating before they even knew that I was creating for Rhythm Nation. And
Okay.
it's interesting because what I tried to do and what I wanted to do was create the feeling that I got while I was out in Minneapolis. And so I would listen to Jesse Johnson. I would listen to Prince music.
Yeah.
I'd listen to The Time. I'd listen to Alexander O'Neill.
Oh
I'd
wow,
listen
man.
to that Jam and Lewis stuff, and because I wanted to create that feeling or as much as possible. And so what happened was when I did get the call to choreograph, it all made sense. So I just had an overabundance of dance moves, of choreography created before I even had the true record.
Wow, wow. So that was
Yeah,
already in the back burner. What
it
you
was in
gonna
the
do?
yeah,
Oh wow.
it was in the can. I mean, truly, I did Rhythm Nation and most of Miss You Much with everything that I had already stockpiled.
Wow.
And then when I heard the real tracks, then if there was something that I needed to create fresh on the spot, then I did that.
Oh man. Now, with after I miss you much and stuff, as far as the realization, when you was all presented the which is most iconic dance uniform, like the military look with the hat and the jacket and the pants and stuff. What was going through your mind when they show you all? This is what y'all going to wear in this video.
Brother, we were super focused.
You just like locked in, yeah.
A lot of this stuff is now um, in hindsight.
Yeah,
You know, we knew we had something special. We had no idea the impact of it,
yeah,
the impact that's still lasting and still moving. And so we had no idea. We just know we liked what we were wearing.
yeah.
When we saw Janet's jacket, we're like, man, that's fire. You know, Janet looks dope. You know.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. So a little bit after that, here it is. That record, the videos on fire, dominated MTV, VH1, was NBC's Friday Night Videos, and
Yeah.
everywhere you could think of and stuff at that time. Um, here it is, 1990. So when the tour was start to, yeah, that was the first, solo tour. So you know how demanded this was going to be compared to just shooting videos and stuff. You
Mm.
know, with this situation. So how prepared you was at that time? Get ready to do this national world tour with Janet.
Oh, we were ready. Really,
Oh wow.
we were like Janet's Funk Army, and we we were disciplined, and we knew our assignment, and our goal was to carry it out.
Wow.
And so everyone understood their position, and we came in and we gave it all, and we knew what was at stake. This was Janet's first tour,
Yeah.
and it was going to be a combination of control and rhythm nation music, and so we knew that. So we had to come out hitting hard, and we always just went hard in the paint. And it's like they say, the eye of the storm on the inside of it is the most, it's the calmest. So for us, we were just doing our thing. We had no idea. We were just wrecking house everywhere we went.
Oh wow, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I have, because my cousin, not to cut you off, when y'all came here to Louisville, Kentucky, at
Mm,
Freedom Hall, and she got excited.
yeah.
I was about like 9 years old at the time. She said, "Rashad, you gotta stay. This is like it's like a movie. The smoke
Yeah.
and the fire,
Wow.
everybody's getting down." I was like, "Wow." I was so mad. Man, I wanted to go, but as a kid, what can you do? Just watch TV. That's about it and stuff. But my constant was just watching you all on TV, consistently and stuff. How huge that was and everything.
Hmm.
Um, okay, here it is. The tour is already popping off. So her third single, Escapade. How like how involved you was to put that dance moves together for that video?
Oh well, I choreographed it. There was a moment where they were wondering, Janet and Renee wondering, could I flip it? Can I, they saw the hard edge, the military, they saw the sharpness, but
Wow.
they weren't sure if, I had other colors.
Yeah.
And so they said, maybe, if you need any help, we were thinking maybe we can have Tina help you. And so for me, if you say that I can't do something, it just makes me want to show you that I can even more. And so I was like, okay. And the I think Escapade wasn't even supposed to be the next single, but radio got it and it just lit on fire. So I just took the track and I listened to it. And that's, again, I come from a musical place. When I listen to the song, I'm not trying to impose myself on the music. I'm listening to what the music is doing and saying, so that what comes out of me, again, is just supporting the music.
Yeah.
So you see it out of the body, you see it in the dance. So I started doing stuff that, I thought was fun. And then I began to show Renee and Janet, and they're like, okay, cool. And so I just went on. Tina did uh, the little jump spin in the
Oh,
chorus.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
And Terry Bickler asked me, he goes, hey, can I do that section at the end, near the end, me and Lavelle and Art? I was like, sure, brother. I said, show it to me, let me see it, because I'm not going to, I'm the principal choreographer, so I'm not going to let something go out there that's not up to what I think is hitting it.
Exactly.
And so I liked it. And so that's what happened. That's how Escapade came about. We performed it on the American Music Awards, and we were backstage Actually, we're waiting. We're going to be doing the Arsenio Hall show, so we're waiting for him to show up, and then Renee comes over with the cassette tape. You know, he said, "Hey, this is the new mix for Escapade for the AMA." He said, "Work on it when you have, you know, when you can." I said, "Okay." He said, "The intro is funky." I said, "All right." So I had my Walkman at the time. I don't know if these kids these days know what a Walkman is.
Yeah, man. Walkers, they used to be my favorite besides the CD.
Yeah. Oh, it was funny. Funny. We were just in OKC a couple weeks ago, and I was teaching at this school, and this little girl comes over. She goes, "Ooh, I like your little phone." And I said, "Well, it's an iPod." She goes, "Oh, that's cute. I have to buy one."
That's
So,
crazy.
yeah, people, I still use an iPod. I got lots of music on that bad boy.
Hey, gotta keep
So,
it. Hey, gotta keep it old school, man.
yeah, you do. So, anyway, so I pop in the cassette, I play it, I go off and find a little dark corner, come back in 15 minutes, and I said, "Okay, I got it." And Renee said, "Got what?" I said, "The intro." He goes, "You did it already?" I said, "Yeah." And so I said, "Let me show you." He goes, so I did it, and oh, we got to show G. He was really excited. So we went and I showed her, and she liked it.
Oh man, yeah, that was a hot video, yeah. Because I tell you, man, it's like it was like once again another video that was dominated all over TV. And I remember me and my mother, we was in the car, they was playing that song on the
Yeah,
radio. And we
yeah.
had to Win Dixie. We used to be Win Dixie grocery store at the time. With that, I was like, man, this song is everywhere. You
It
couldn't
was
escape
it,
it,
wa-
man.
it was so much fun, and she
Yeah,
had fun.
yeah, because like she did though, because you could see like her like smiling and just really
Yeah,
man feeling vibrant in the video, man.
yeah.
So, like she had a good time.
You know that part? It's towards the end where they have that where they have that close up on her,
Oh
and
yeah.
she was singing into the camera. We got in trouble with the director because she and I started laughing so hard. We he kept having to say cut because I was in her eye line. She's looking towards the camera, and I was right off to the side, to the left side of the camera, and we were just busted. Oh man! And so
Oh
yeah,
wow,
it was fun.
that's crazy and stuff, man. Cause now y'all did like a commercial for I think it was like for Japan.
Yes,
Like to do
yeah.
that song and stuff. Yeah,
Hmm.
like that's crazy. But like, little bit after the video, like say commercial right away and stuff. And that's huge, man.
Yeah, it was for JAL, Japan Airlines. We did Rhythm Nation and Escapade.
Oh, okay. Now, the next one, say was all right. My personal favorite right there, but you guys
Mm.
dance your ass off in that one, man, and stuff. Who was the idea to do like a kind of like a 1930s or 40s type of style, for that short film video?
Well, she always liked the music or the movie music, and she would talk about that from time to time. You know, wherever we were, a couple times at her house, and with Terry and Renee and myself, and she just loved it. And she wanted to do, excuse me, she wanted to do one of her projects, one of her videos, that particular style. And so when we were shooting, I'm sorry, we were rehearsing the Rhythm Nation tour, and Janet came in. I was in the separate studio, and the dancers and Janet were in another studio, and I was working on things. And she came in and she started talking to me about All Right, and she just started, and then she looked at me and she stopped talking. I must have had some glazed look in my eyes or something, and she goes, "You need help, huh?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "She goes, you want me to talk to Terry?" I said, "Yeah, please."
Oh man.
So really, Terry, Tina Landon, and myself, we all contributed choreography to it. Michael Kidd, he did the staging for it. who did the staging and choreography for Guys and Dolls.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow, that's huge, man.
So the reason why it looks like that is because you had someone who was from that authentic period showing us how it was done, how he created it.
Wow. I like the part of the video where y'all slid across the street and stuff. Y'all
Yeah,
stopped. I was like,
yeah.
was it at one take or you had to do like multiple takes try to get it right, like nobody don't fall or lose their balance?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I was curious. I was like, man, they nailed it to the T. I said, I know they had to take maybe like 4 or 5 different cuts. Like, dang,
Yeah.
I ain't need to fall and trip on you and stuff.
Yeah, that was fun. It was slippery and scary though.
Oh man, it looked
So if
like
you notice,
it was trying to
when we
rain that
come
day.
sliding through, our knees are slightly bent so that we could
Wow.
hold our balance.
Oh wow, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Because it looked like when it got like dark, it looked like it was trying to rain. But I was like, well, maybe this side too. Maybe that's probably how she wanted to look or whatever,
Uh-huh.
in the video and stuff. And because I like the part where I think I'm trying to think. Oh, when it was like it's like y'all woke up, y'all was all dressed up, but at the end,
Yeah.
y'all just like homeless people and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was saying that's kind of rock. I didn't ever think about it as a kid. I was like, man, that's amazing. But again, I always say I like the concept of the story and everything.
Right.
Now, did y'all get a chance to meet the actual Cap Calloway?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I got his autograph on my I still have my treatment, and I had it signed by everyone that was in the video.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Cap Calloway. I had Janet sign it, the Nicholas brothers, Sid Charisse. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she has some all-star people, in that
Yeah.
video. How huge it was. Now I do remember, okay, like here this you got the original version. Then there was a remix version. We had Heavy D in there.
Yeah. There
Now,
we go.
yeah, was he
Got
there
his.
on the set the whole time, or they had to like do like an extra day shoot for him?
Oh no, he came up. He came up later in the day. But yeah, he was a part of it. So we shot the full video, and then what they did was create 2 different versions.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or actually 2 different edits. Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a hot video, man. I tell you, man, that was
Mm-hmm.
a classic, man, because,
Yeah.
as a kid, like going neighborhood, man, everybody danced to the song, man, and having
Mm-hmm.
a good time, man, and that's one thing I don't think, that she don't get the credit she deserves that, she was ahead of her time as far as like the
Yeah.
idea of and it's like we look at Michael, I call Michael, the visionary, and she was a visionary herself too, just to
Mm-hmm.
bring your ideas to life instead of
Yeah.
label keep you limited, but like, nah, you should not do that or whatever, and everything. Um, so the next one, she did Come Back to Me. I know none of y'all was not in that one. So that was kind of like a day off for you all. You say
Right.
so,
Yeah, no.
yeah,
She shot that in Paris.
in Paris. Oh, okay. Was
Mm-hmm.
y'all on the? Do y'all had a show out there in Paris that day or like that week?
No, not at all. That was just completely a different production team, and we weren't a part of that. The dancers weren't a part at all.
Okay. Okay. After that, y'all okay. Black Cat, came in and see the stuff. Now with that one, what was the ideas behind like trying to figure out okay what direction you want to go with this one and stuff?
Well, the director basically just caught the live performance of that piece that we did on stage. And interestingly enough, when we were putting together the tour, when it came to that song, I had the musicians out from their posts and just going off, just
Wow.
doing their thing. And so after a few rehearsals or run throughs, uh, Janet and Renee were concerned that maybe the band was just kind of all over the place. And I said, no, trust me. Because I had a band. I said, trust me. These cats want to just let loose.
Wow.
And it's gonna work. I said, trust me on this, it's gonna work. And they did. And it turned out to be a highlight in the show. And just a great performance piece and moment for her, because she was able to just really work that stage and, the different levels, especially when she went up on the tower, on one of the towers. And she wanted to go up higher, but I
Right.
wasn't all for heights. I said, no, Jan, we're going to stay right here.
Oh man, she was kind of like playing like a what was the word, like play with fire, like now let's do that, like oh no man.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. Because I remember watching the MTV performance in 1990, did that and stuff, and man, like that, like wow, man, like you see how the power blew off and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
When is the cue to like disappear? When that happens, because I know they had to cut the light on right then and there and stuff. And lead to like a next song or whatever.
The cue, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
repeat that.
Yeah, like when is the cue to like disappear and like the
Oh,
power goes off, you have to like run off and come back and stuff to like the next
uh-huh.
song or whatever.
Well, we had, for a little while, we actually had a Black Panther for
All
that
right.
piece. And we would, show the Panther in the cage. And then we would take Janet, or actually, we take Janet and the cage was empty, excuse me. It was empty. We put her in it, we threw a big old cloak over the top of it, spun it around, and then right at the accent of the song, we would throw the thing off, and there was a Black Panther in there. Janet had disappeared.
Wow.
Yeah, it was dope. And so really, it was just about cues, dun, 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 bow, cut. And then the band would go and vamp into this funk version of the song and just destroy what was left of the stage.
Wow.
And really, it's just about cues, knowing we're going to do this right here at this part of the song. It's going to go dark. You follow we had like little glow tapes so you can see on the stage, where to exit during the blackout.
Oh well, that's awesome. Because I was always
Hmm.
curious about that. I was like, I wonder how they know, like, okay, should I go left? Should I go right? What I'm
Yeah,
saying? How we gonna do this and stuff?
yeah.
Well, I didn't know that, man. Wow, that's awesome stuff.
Tricks of the trade, my brother. Tricks of the
Yeah.
trade.
Hey, you guys at the G said that, man. It's like a magician, man, and stuff. That's after Black Cat. What I like about the video, man, it was like her like kind of edgy. You know what I'm saying? One part you see like the stage concerts, different highlights and stuff. Then one part you see her whole
Yeah.
face and even
Hmm.
that dark look. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
it's like a whole different Janet.
Yeah.
With that. Now from there to Love Would Never Do Without You. And I'm gonna tell you something funny about the video. Love Would Never Do Without You is like her wearing the top bra and her wearing the wig. It was like I'm not gonna use the word prophecy. It was like Renovation pre Janet that was gonna happen
Hmm.
like couple like 3 years later down the road and stuff. So what was the ideas you was helping to try to come up with for "I Love Would Never Do Without You" other like the
Well,
video?
at that point, the tour, I completed the North American leg of the tour. Actually, we put it twice. We did, and so I didn't do the European part. I was worn out. I was
Oh wow,
basically, there was nothing in my tank because I had done so much. Even before, like I said, even before there was a Rhythm Nation, I was already creating Rhythm Nation. And
wow.
so, I did the European promo tour, I did the commercials, I did the award shows, I did the videos, so there was nothing left. And so
Wow.
by the time they were ready to do Love Will Never Do, that's when they started to introduce Tina and that side of Janet, the real
Oh,
feminine side, leaning into the sexy side of Janet.
Yeah, yeah, that was kind of like, like, wow, that shocked everybody. I was showing her body parts in that video and everything and stuff around that time. Now, that year, say I had to run it back a little bit. Okay, when you first won, the award for the MTV, for the best choreograph, at that award, what was your mind at the time when you found out that you was going to win the award? I know you was like a stan, like, oh my god, man, I'm winning the MTV award for the work I put in to help her, where she's at.
Well, I got the nomination news, and it was exciting, and was also a little guarded at the same time.
Wow.
And what I mean by that is we were rehearsing. No, we were actually on tour. We're on tour, and Renee came to me one day as we were going to the sound check. He said, "I have good news for you, and I have bad news." And he said, "First, the good news." He said, "You won a Grammy for the nation."
Wow.
I'm like, "What?" And Janet was standing there, and before I had a chance to even just really lose it, he goes, "Now the bad news." He said, "But you don't get a trophy." And the disappointment that struck me,
Wow.
Janet reacted to. I saw her like she wanted to hug me, you know. And
Wow.
so and I'm thinking to myself, how can you win a Grammy Award for best long form video? It's a dance video, and the choreographer doesn't get a trophy, but someone who is, you know, a producer or a writer or someone else other than the person doing the choreography doesn't
Yeah.
get an award. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that don't make
They
sense.
get the award. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
What about
that
all
don't.
that dancing? you know, we
That's
should
like
have
having a that's like having a birthday party where you're not invited to go to your own birthday party.
exactly, exactly. You don't even get a piece of the cake.
No, somebody else is 84. You're like, well, we had a good time, man. I'm gonna tell you on that one, man. It was a blast, brother. But maybe next year we got you. Oh
exactly.
man.
So when they told me that I was nominated, that we were nominated, I was excited, but I was also not sure. I didn't want to get my hopes up too high. And Renee had called me one morning, and he said, "Hey, are you going to invite your mom to the show?" And I said, "No." And he said, "How come?" And I said, "'Cause I don't think we're going to win." He goes, "Bro, you don't think you're going to win? You don't think you guys are going to win?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, Hammer was hot. So we're going to get MC Hammer. We're going against Madonna. We're going against Paula.
Yeah.
It was no joke."
Yeah.
So yeah, so I thought I didn't think we were gonna win.
Yeah. Because when you when they say y'all won and stuff, y'all walking up to the stage. Because I remember and stuff. I know, man, like all the nerves and everything was back in my mind, like, oh my god, man, this has actually happened to me.
It was the craziest feeling. I didn't. I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream. I wanted to be show all my excited happiness, but I had to keep it together, man.
Yeah.
But here's a little nugget. So we're walking down to the stage, and I find this out later, and I hear my mother is running towards the stage, bro.
Wow.
And Magic Johnson grabs her. He goes, "What you? Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm going up there. My son just won." And she said, "No." He said, "No, you can't go right now."
You gotta do it after the stage is over.
I, oh my God,
Oh
I
man.
was. Oh my God, I would have been mortified. Mom, I know you're listening. That would have tore me up.
Cause I know, like, did it hit home for you? Was like, wow, as a kid, you dreamed about all these things, we had that moment to yourself, like, man, this is like, what's the word,
Yeah,
like reality. I know you was like still in awe at that moment, that time.
yeah. There was so much going on, and I still, to this day, I'm really humbled by the response. I'm really humbled by the success of all that the choreography um, has done and contributed to the vision of that record. You know, I mean, seriously, no matter where I go around the world, and I see people and they talk about that piece, and it's just humbling. It just humbles my heart.
Yeah, cause that, I'll tell you, that's what what I like about it. It was so iconic. Here it is. Like, if you go to Ohio and Cleveland, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you see the Real Nation outfit, suit, there, they had written lyrics and everything. Because if I ain't mistaken, I think that album's in the Grammy Hall of Fame, and then to talk about the video itself, the whole vision, where
Uh
you
huh.
and might have put so much work in, man. I mean, it's like that could never be replaced. And I hate when, no offense to current artists, I hate when they try to compare something that's so iconic, like that could never be duplicated or even out top, because you all was so far ahead of your time, man.
Mm,
That's incredible. I mean, back then it went on social media,
yeah.
back then, just to even come up with all that. After of course, like the tour and everything was over with and stuff. What direction, look, let me take it back. Did you get the calls coming in from different artists that want to work with you and stuff, like in videos and tours and stuff?
I did. Not right away. I had to actually get an agent. And so once I got an agent, a dance agent, then yeah, things changed. And also my manager, Glenn Friedman, he he was also a big part of what would be the next phase of my choreography career
Yeah, yeah. Because I
and
remember
music.
you mentioned me in a text that you helped choreograph Luther Vandross, Heaven Knows.
Yep.
Yeah. So how did that treatment come about?
Well, that was through. Uh-oh, battery power's going down, bro.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Oh,
I didn't expect to be on the phone. My
it's all
computer
good.
wasn't working properly, but yeah, the battery is about to say goodbye very shortly. Well,
Okay.
it was through my manager, uh, Glenn, who he was friends with Luther's manager, and said that Luther was wanted me to work on his tour. So I did 3 numbers on the Never Let Me Go tour.
Let me go to. Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow. R.I.P. to Luther Vandross. Yeah. You say it's died and stuff. Yeah. Because I don't want to keep it too long that it might die and stuff like that. Or get a bit of interview. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But before we get off here and stuff, I just want to say thank you for coming on here and taking the time. Big shout out to DJ Scratch for hooking this up and everything. And we definitely got to bring it back on here. We can
yeah,
talk about like the after, saying
right. Part two.
everything. Part two, you definitely, man. But thank you again, man. Be part of Black Music Month, man.
My pleasure,
And my
brother.
name's Rashawn Lee. We out here, brother.
Take care now.
You got it.